By chance, I have gained the opportunity to travel through the world of film and television, and everything starts with being willing from a young age. Travel through the urban world is mainly focused on, such as Xiao Shede, let's get married, everything is good, joy song and so on. Keywords of the novel. The world of film and television starts with no pop-ups, the world of film and television starts with Xiao Shede. Download the complete TXT collection, and the world of film and television starts with Xiao Shede to read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Film and Television Life Experience System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Film and Television Life Experience System. Dong dong, dong dong. The door was knocked heavily, and Zhou Chen, who was sleeping, was startled as a carp rolled and sat up. However, before he could fully wake up, a familiar roar came from outside the door. Sleep, sleep, sleep. I know I'm sleeping every day. What time is it and I can't get up yet? Are you trying to make me angry? Ah, here we go again. Zhou Chen rubbed his eyes with some helplessness. This is the second month since he resigned and returned home. In addition to his enthusiasm in the first few days, in the following few decades, he was despised and even scolded for sleeping in. Think about how gentle and kind my mother used to be, always speaking softly to me, but these days, it's like a different person. As for the reason, he is naturally very clear about it, but it is not so easy to solve it. It's just past March now, and the weather in Huai City has warmed up, but the highest temperature is only a dozen degrees. Therefore, the down jacket has already been taken off, but a sweater still needs to be added to the body. After getting dressed, Zhou Chen walked out of the room and saw his mother, Li Peng, sitting on the sofa in the living room. Just as he was about to show a smile and say a few pleasantries, his mother Li Peng didn't give him the chance and stood up with a swoop. What time is it now? You can't sleep at night, you can't wake up in the morning. What do you want? Do you think you're in your 20s? You're already in your 30s, and if this continues, not to mention marrying a wife, you'll be deposed. Zhou Chen rubbed his nose and dared not refute it. He could only mutter softly, Mom, is it so exaggerated? My birthday is in December, and I don't even have a year to go. When it comes to being 28 years old, it's still more than half a year away. Why is it only 30 years old? Li Peng's eyes widened and she exclaimed, Don't talk to me about what you have or not. You were born to me. I say you're as old as you are. When your father and I were your age, your sister used to make soy sauce. Look at you, you still don't even have a girlfriend. Why did we bring up our girlfriend again, Mom? Didn't I say that? This matter is about fate. If fate doesn't come, it's useless to rush. This kind of topic has to be discussed several times a day, and Zhou Chen's ears are getting calluses. Li Peng sneered, Fate. Is it fate to sleep in at home every day? I feel embarrassed to go out now. Who in the community doesn't know that our family has a son who is delicious, lazy, and doesn't even have a girlfriend? Is it not embarrassing for me and your father to be idle? Zhou Chen said dejectedly, When did I become lazy and delicious? I just resigned less than 2 months ago and want to adjust well. Besides, it's embarrassing not to have a girlfriend. It's normal for me to not get married at this age, isn't it okay? Hee hee. Faced with his mother's sneer, Zhou Chen's eyes twitched as he realized that he had no girlfriend and no status at home. Cough cough. Zhou Zhiming coughed twice, interrupted the conversation between the mother and son, and said to his wife, Wife, it's almost noon now. Hurry up and steam the hairy crabs. Xiaoxin and Lele will come over soon. It's okay for him not to speak. As soon as he spoke, Li Peng immediately cursed at him, You're not a good person either. You know to be a good person all day long, and you're just being gentle. She cursed and cursed, but she still walked to the kitchen. Today, her daughter and granddaughter were coming back, and she specially bought hairy crabs. She didn't have a grandson, so she could only hurt her granddaughter. Dad, Mom, what's going on today? It's like taking gunpowder. Zhou Chen pulled his father to the balcony, lit a cigarette for him, and asked softly. Although his mother Li Tsongping used to urge him to find a girlfriend, she hasn't been as ruthless as she is today. Zhou Zhiming took a puff of smoke and then spat it out, saying, "You can't blame your mother either. She was angry with your Aunt Zhao today." Aunt Zhao? Isn't she my mother's friend? They had an argument. Zhou Chen is very confused. Aunt Zhao is an aunt in their community. She often chats with his mother and has a good relationship. Zhou Zhiming took another deep breath and said displeased, "Don't talk about your mother, I'm also very angry. Didn't your mother ask her to introduce you to someone before? Today, she told us that she found a blind date for you. Originally, your mother was quite happy, but to her surprise, Aunt Zhao found a second marriage partner and even brought a son. You didn't see it. At that time, your mother was so angry that she was trembling. If it weren't for me pulling her, she would have had a falling out with your Aunt Zhao on the spot." Not to mention being parents, even Zhou Chen was stunned when he heard this. "Aunt Zhao, are you okay?" The woman also said that in this market, there are more men and fewer women, and second marriage women are also popular. Your mother was so angry that she started scolding on the spot, saying why not let her son find a second marriage. I pulled your mother back by pulling her back. Zhou Chen nodded, finally understanding why his mother was like eating gunpowder today. If it were any other mother, she might not be able to resist. It's just a second marriage, with a son. I really treat him like a receiver. It's not that he discriminates against second marriage. In this society, second marriage is not shameful, but it also requires separation of people. He is a great young man, not ugly or short, and has 2 houses and a car at home. No matter what, he shouldn't look for a second marriage. Son, don't blame your mother either. I also want to remind you a few words. As parents, we don't expect you to be wealthy and prosperous, we only hope that you can form a small family and have a harmonious husband and wife. We will be satisfied." Looking at his father, who was swallowing clouds and puffing mist, hesitating to speak, Zhou Chen remained silent. He understood his parents' intentions, but he really didn't want to make do with it. "Dad, I understand now. Don't worry, I will work hard. You have grown up and are no longer a child. Please be more considerate of your mother." Zhou Zhiming patted his son's shoulder, extinguished his cigarette butt, and walked out of the balcony. Zhou Chen looked at the cars coming and going outside the window, feeling heavy. He knew that his parents were not only concerned about his lack of a girlfriend, but also about his resignation more than a month ago. He used to work in a state-owned liquor factory, and it was his father who hired someone to get involved. He was there as soon as he graduated, and it had been 5 years before resigning. In 5 years, he went from a small employee to a small leader, and his salary and benefits were quite good. However, only he himself knew how oppressive the work environment had been in recent years, polishing all his expectations for youth and entering the retirement mode ahead of schedule. Not long ago, due to an incident that was clearly a mistake by the upper leadership, he was finally allowed to take the blame. He, who had been suppressed for a long time, erupted on the spot and later chose to resign. Looking back now, in fact, anger turned into anger at the time, but it had not yet reached the level of resignation. It was only a few years of repression that caused him to explode in this matter and make that decision. Of course, he won't regret it, because this was also the path he chose himself, but now he feels that his initial choice was a bit hasty. That kind of life is not what I want. Life is difficult, but I still want to live the life I want to live. This decision made both parents dissatisfied, but he did not regret it. Suddenly, Zhou Chen noticed an inexplicable white light appearing outside, shooting directly at him, causing him to feel dizzy. In a daze, Zhou Chen seemed to have something in his mind. When he regained his senses, he was shocked to find that an interface resembling a science fiction world appeared in front of him, printed like a panel. Visible, intangible. What is this? Before he could think much, a piece of information appeared clearly in his mind. Host. Zhou Chen attribute power. 7 physical fitness. 8 spirit. 8 agility. 7 remaining points. For the introduction of the panel is very simple, except for the name, there are only 4 basic attributes introduced. Surprisingly, it's the system. Zhou Chen's heart trembled, and he exclaimed, "Is this the system?" But then I became excited. As a seasoned novel enthusiast, I am naturally familiar with the system, which is a standard feature for the protagonist. Zhou Chen, who has rich experience in online writing, did not panic too much, but instead communicated with the system in his heart and quickly received a systematic response. The information in his mind lets him know that this system is called the Life Experience Teacher System, and its function is to allow him to travel to other worlds and experience different lives. Travel through the world and experience life. The system's ability further impressed Zhou Chen, and then he continued to ask the system what kind of world it would travel to. The system's response was the world of film and television. However, it is not an unlimited time travel. After traveling to the world of film and television, the system will release a task. Only after completing the task can one leave, return to reality, and start the next time to travel. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Xiao Shede. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Xiao Shede. After several experiments, Zhou Chen found that although the system panel was in his line of sight, only he could actually see it himself and others could not see it, and it only appeared when he summoned it. If you want to traverse, just open the system panel and you can communicate with the system to traverse. After realizing that reality had stopped after crossing into another world, Zhou Chen had no worries and opened the system panel directly, preparing to start his first crossing. With a flash of white light in front of him, he lost consciousness in the next moment. Sitting in a minimalist decorated office, Zhou Chen's expression was somewhat bewildered. I thought that time travel would be a physical journey, but now it doesn't seem like that. He has traveled, but it's not the entire person, it's his consciousness. In this world, his name is not Zhou Chen, but Xia Junshan. A name that Zhou Chen is quite familiar with, because he is currently following a TV drama where the male lead is named Xia Junshan. It's actually true. The ability of the system is really powerful, not only making him Xia Junshan, but also inheriting the memories of the original owner. Apart from the distant ones that have become blurred, he has inherited the memories of the past decade or so. Open the system panel. There is not much change from the previous simple interface, the only difference is that an additional task is added at the bottom. Task. Xia Junshan from Shaoxi village hopes that his daughter Xia Huanhuan's grades will improve. Please ask the host to help Xia Huanhuan get into Hanlin Middle School. Done. Seeing this task, Zhou Chen's mind immediately buzzed with excitement. It was incredibly difficult, starting with a hellish difficulty. Xia Junshan and Xia Huanhuan are both popular TV dramas recently, and the characters in Xiao Shede are still a father and daughter. Xiao Shede is a TV drama with education as its theme, interspersed with complex family relationships. Overall, it is a TV drama that is relatively close to reality. Zhou Chen usually enjoys reading novels, TV shows, and movies. He has recently resigned and is at home. He is currently following this little movie and has already watched most of it. From the excitement at the beginning to the forceful sensationalism later on, although he has not yet seen the grand finale, judging from his years of experience watching the drama, it is definitely a happy ending in the end. But now that he has traveled into the world of this TV drama and become Xia Junshan, this world is no longer just a simple TV drama. For him, this has become the real world. Especially for system tasks, if they cannot be completed, he will stay in this film and television world forever until he dies of old age. The system that Zhou Chen had finally acquired, with the ability to travel through the world of film and television, could not accept such a result, so the task must be completed. But he never expected that the system would give him such a desperate task during his first time crossing. Helping Xia Huanhuan get into Hanlin Middle School is just playing tricks on people. Having seen Xiao Shede, he is very clear about what kind of school Hanlin Middle School is. It is a top private junior high school in Jiangzhou. If you want to be admitted to such a school, you must be a top student among the top students. Who is Xia Huanhuan? A proper academic scumbag, and also the kind of scumbag who spends 3 days fishing and 2 days sunbathing, has a strong sense of self-esteem, but lacks the spirit of hard work and struggle. In one sentence, she is a spoiled little princess. In TV, due to her academic problems, the whole family was in a big fight. They went to tutoring classes, parents were tutoring, and teachers were looking for tutoring, but their grades couldn't improve, which can be considered a rotten wood that cannot be carved. In fact, Xia Huanhuan is a very good little girl. Although she is a bit delicate, she is outgoing, especially in the arts of singing and dancing. She is extremely talented and can be considered a relatively likable little girl. Just when it comes to academic performance, there are really many problems. It was precisely because he knew the plot that Zhou Chen felt that his task was of hellish difficulty. There is a huge gap between public Fengfan Junior High School and Hanlin Junior High School. Even with grades like Yan Zio, it is not guaranteed that she will be able to pass, let alone Xia Huanhuan. If Xia Huanhuan had the learning ability of Mi Tao, Zhou Chen wouldn't have to worry at all, but the problem is, Xia Huanhuan doesn't have it at all. If you can't complete the task, you can't do without this world. Such anxiety completely deprived Zhou Chen of the joy of crossing over. It has to be said that the system's ability is truly powerful. He crossed over and became Xia Junshan, inheriting everything from Xia Junshan. This vast memory that appeared out of thin air made him feel no bitterness, as if this kind of life was something he had experienced himself. Just like when he was reincarnated and suddenly awakened the memories of his past life, everything was so smooth. Xia Junshan is him, he is Xia Junshan. In the TV drama, Xia Junshan can definitely be considered a good person, loving and loyal to his wife, showing respect and filial piety to his elders, and gentle indulgence towards his children. But due to his childhood experience, he excessively doted on his children, especially his daughter, who was afraid of falling in his hands and melting in his mouth. He was a standard daughter slave. Because he is now a well-known architectural designer in the Design Institute, a senior executive with an independent office, even if he is distracted and thinking about problems, he doesn't have to worry about being seen by others. According to my memory, the plot in the TV drama has not yet begun. Currently, Xia Huanhuan is still in the second half of 5th grade, and it has been some time since the start of the school year. It is less than a year and a half before she enters junior high school. How to improve Xia Huanhuan's grades and reach the level of being admitted to Hanlin Middle School within a year and a half is an urgent task for Zhou Chen. Because of the lessons learned from TV dramas, the option of personally tutoring can be ruled out. Even if he inherits everything from Xia Junshan, he doesn't think he can do things that even Xia Junshan can't do. Tutoring one's own child's studies can really lead to a surge in blood pressure and loss of rationality. Attending tutoring classes, hiring tutors, on point 1 tutoring. There are actually many choices to help children learn, but whether it is useful or not still needs to be proven through practice. Just like on TV, Xia Huanhuan went to the best tutoring institution in the city and couldn't keep up. Not only did money suffer, but people also suffered along with her. Well, the selection can be ruled out, so dong. Boss, after work, aren't you going home yet? Zhou Chen was startled and looked up. His subordinates, Chi and Fei, were knocking on the door, looking at him intently. Oh, I'm thinking about something. You guys go first, I'll go right away. Okay, boss, let's go first. Chi and Fei waved at Zhou Chen and then left with their bags. Zhou Chen's Design Institute used to be a state-owned enterprise for a long time, but now it has become a semi-state-owned and semi-private enterprise. As the leading architectural designer in the institute, he is at the senior level in terms of treatment and qualifications, and even leads a small team under his command. After sitting for a while, Zhou Chen packed his things and prepared to leave work. After leaving the office, he greeted familiar people without any hesitation. "Oh, the 7-seater Encore flag is indeed much more comfortable than my Encore. Get on the car, fasten your seat belt, apply the brake, start, shift gears, a basic set of procedures, go smoothly." Before crossing the border, I worked in a small 18th-tier city for 5 years and saved up money to buy an enclave. Now, looking at the executives in big cities, although cars are not very good, they are much stronger than him, and their annual salary can even match his several years. As he was driving, suddenly a strange phone rang. Zhou Chen was stunned for a moment, and then realized that it was his phone. He took out his phone with one hand. Glancing at it, the caller ID showed that it was actually his wife, which made him inexplicably flustered. Can you not panic? Although he is now Xia Junshan, his soul is not. Facing his original wife, he may feel a bit uncomfortable. Nan Li. The character of Nan Li in Xiao Shede is Zhou Chen's favorite character in this drama. She is a woman in her 30s, beautiful and elegant, with outstanding abilities, yet not lacking in charm, often with cute expressions. It cannot be said to be perfect, but it is definitely the type that most men like. Even if it is a bit paranoid in the later stages of the plot, it still makes people dislike it. Such a woman suddenly became her own wife, and Zhou Chen was both nervous and a little excited. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Wife calls. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Wife calls. After calming his tense and excited mood, Zhou Chen pressed the connect button. "Hello, husband, have you received Huan? If you have, don't rush back. Take her to the stationery store to buy some pens. She told me this morning that one pen is broken and needs to be replaced with a new one." The voice of Nan Li on the opposite side is clear and melodious, with a clear and pleasant tone, and also exudes a sense of competence and sharpness. But when Zhou Chen heard it, he exclaimed in surprise, "Ah! Husband, what's wrong with you?" Upon hearing her husband's exclamation, Nan Li immediately asked in an urgent tone. "It's nothing, nothing." Zhou Chen reacted and quickly spoke up. "Sorry, Lily. I forgot about this. I'm almost home now, so I'll turn around and pick up Huan right away." "Husband, what's wrong with you? Even my daughter forgets to pick her up, it's not like you." Nan Li's tone was full of surprise. She knew her husband very well and was a daughter slave. Sometimes, even her wife would feel jealous when she saw him doting on her daughter. How could such a daughter slave forget to pick up his own daughter? At this point, Zhou Chen had already arrived at the main entrance of Shishihuding in his own community, but he did not enter, but stopped. Upon hearing Nan Li's question, his face showed helplessness, and it was not his fault. Although he was now Xia Junshan, he knew that his family had essentially traveled through time. Even though he had inherited everything from Xia Junshan, his consciousness was still dominated by Zhou Chen. Now he is no longer his daughter Nuxia Junshan. Over the past few hours, he has been contemplating his own situation and how to complete the task. He never remembers going to pick someone up today. "I have something to attend to today, I forgot about it. Is it too late for me to go now?" "Forget it, I'll call Teacher Zhang first. Huan is on duty today and will be a little later than usual. If you haven't returned yet, I'll go over and take her. I happen to be off work too. When you get home, go to your mother's place and pick up Chow Chow." "Okay, then I'll park the car and go pick up the supermarket." "Well, I'll hang up first, husband. Goodbye." "Goodbye." Because both husband and wife have to go to work, their grandmother Zhao Na is usually responsible for picking up and dropping off their children. Chow Chow's kindergarten is not far from Huan's Fengfan Elementary School. After Xiao Na picks up Xia Chao from the kindergarten, she will go to pick up Xia Huan and send them home together. However, today is Huan duty and it will be a little later than usual, just in time for the end of work. Originally, it was agreed that Xia Junshan would go to pick it up today, but after Zhou Chen crossed over, he forgot about it and went to pick it up. After parking the car in the underground parking lot, Zhou Chen carried his briefcase and walked to his mother-in-law's place. My mother-in-law Zhao Na lives in a small courtyard diagonally opposite their community, which is a standalone property left by Nan Li's grandparents. When they bought a house, it was also because of Zhao Na that they bought the Times Huading bungalow across from them. Zhou Chen, who was familiar with the way, found a spot and pressed the doorbell. Soon after, the door was opened, and what caught his eye was an exquisitely dressed short-haired old lady. It's not appropriate to say that the old lady is also in her 50s because of maintenance. "Mom, I'm here to pick up Xiao Chao." The mother's call was very smooth, which surprised Zhou Chen himself. This was the first time he had called a woman a mother except for his mother, probably because he inherited the memory of Xia Junshan, so he didn't feel awkward. "Where is Huan?" Zhao Na glanced but didn't see Huan, so she asked Zhou Chen. Zhou Chen replied, "Lily went to pick up Huan. I came over to pick up Xiao Chao." "Oh, come on in," Zhao Na nodded. Zhou Chen waved his hand and said, "No, I'll take Xiao Chao and leave. I won't go in anymore." In his memory, although their family was very close to his mother-in-law Zhao Na, he rarely came here. Every time Zhao Na made a request, it was Nan Li who came to help. "Okay." Zhao Na didn't say anything, just shouted into the room, "Xiao Chao, your father has come to pick you up. Dad is here." There was a sudden sound in the room, followed by the sound of footsteps, and a small figure ran over. "Dad." As soon as he saw Zhou Chen, the little person immediately opened their hands and jumped over. Zhou Chen picked up Xiao Chao, not sure if he was influenced by his memory. After seeing this little person, who had never been married before, he couldn't help but feel a feeling of licking the calf. At that moment, he suddenly realized that he was now Zhou Chen and also Xia Junshan, but in this world, he was more of Xia Junshan. The life experience system is not for him to experience the lives of others, but to experience his own life, different lives from different worlds. Since he has become Xia Junshan, he must bear all the responsibilities related to Xia Junshan, including his wife, children, parents, and so on. "Did you miss your dad?" Zhou Chen, who had figured it out, smiled and asked his son Xia Chao. Think. Nodding with super force, holding on to Zhou Chen's neck without letting go. Zhou Chen also smiled happily. It turned out that being a father was so delightful. Before crossing the time to pursue the drama, his favorite small character in Xiao Shede's play was Xiao Chao. Beautiful, lovely, and sensible, even though they are so young, they know how to love their sister and parents, and they are also so obedient. How could such a child not be loved? Holding Xiao Chao, he took the backpack from Zhao Na's hand. "Mom, then I'll take Xiao Chao back first." "Well, go ahead. Xiao Chao, say goodbye to Grandma." "Grandma, goodbye. Super goodbye. Have you been naughty in kindergarten today?" On the way back, Zhou Chen did not let go of Xiao Chao, but just held on to his own son, which was the first experience in his life. Zhou Chen is increasingly fond of life experience systems. "No, I'm super obedient. The teacher even praised me." Xiao Chao hugged his father's neck, pouted, and answered cutely. "Really? Our supermarket is really obedient." Dad, are you going to reward me?" Zhou Chen grinned and nodded at Xiao Chao's little nose, asking, "What reward does Xiao Chao want?" Xiao Chao squinted his eyes and said, "Lollipops, Xiao Chao wants to eat lollipops." Zhou Chen pretended to have a worried expression and said, "Lollipops, but my mom said that I can't eat lollipops, otherwise my little teeth will fall out completely." Xiao Xiao raised his index finger and said, "One, just one, okay, Dad." "No, if Mom finds out, we'll all be scolded. So hurry up and finish it, don't you just let Mom know." Looking at Xiao Xiao's wise and praising appearance, Zhou Chen smiled even happier. "Okay, then Dad agrees to Xiao Xiao, but he can only eat one and can't tell Mom yet." Okay, hee hee. Seeing Zhou Chen's agreement, he burst into a super happy smile, very happy. "Let's go buy lollipops. There is a convenience store right at the entrance of the community," and Zhou Chen hugged Xiao Xiao and asked him to choose one of the many lollipops on the checkout counter. A plastic shelf on the cashier is filled with lollipops, with various flavors. Blueberry flavored, orange flavored, pineapple flavored, cola flavored. There are too many types, so wide-eyed. He wanted to eat several flavors, but his father promised to buy him one, which put him in a difficult position. For the first time writing this kind of urban travel novel, I'm not sure if everyone will like it. If you have any suggestions and opinions, you can put them up in the book review section or this chapter, which will appropriately satisfy some of your opinions. Please provide more support. The more people you see and support, the more motivated you will be to write. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Son, wife, daughter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Son, wife, daughter, dad, why don't we buy a few more? After considering for a long time, he suddenly looked up and said to Zhou Chen with a sticky expression. Zhou Chen smiled in his heart, but his face was serious as he replied, "This is not possible, Xiao Xiao. You just promised Dad to buy only one. As a young man, you can't just keep your word." "Okay, Xiao Xiao is a young man. We can't just talk nonsense, so let's buy two," sighed Xiao Xiao like a young adult. Zhou Chen raised his eyebrows and said, "Since this little guy has compromised, why do we still need to buy two?" But Xiao Xiao quickly provided an explanation. Xiao Xiao wants to eat one and give one to his sister. This child. Zhou Chen used to help his sister's family with their children, but his niece is not as sensible as Xiao Xiao, and she gives him a different feeling. Xiao Xiao felt very pleased with this. Compared to Xia Huanhuan, Xiao Xiao was even younger but more obedient. From this, it can also be seen that the education of this family is actually good. The reason why Xia Huanhuan became like that is directly related to the excessive indulgence of her predecessor. But it's normal to think about it. Fathers usually prefer their daughters, and even he likes his own niece very much. If he were a little nephew, he probably wouldn't have that much patience. But if you buy one for your sister too, you will definitely be discovered by your mother. In that case, you will be scolded. Aren't you afraid? Xiao Xiao pouted and thought for a moment, but every time my sister has something good to share with me, I also want to bring delicious food for her. Mom loves Xiao Xiao the most and definitely won't scold her. Dad, just buy two. Little ghost head. Xiao Xiao's words made Zhou Chen very satisfied. The most rare thing for children is to know how to share. Nowadays, children are very selfish, and good things are basically their own. Children like Xiao Xiao, who are only 3 years old and know how to share, are really rare. Boss, take 2 lollipops. Okay, 2 yuan. After scanning the code and paying, I asked Xiao Xiao to choose the flavor. Xiao Xiao quickly picked up 2, one orange flavored and the other strawberry flavored. Strawberry flavored for sister, super delicious orange flavored. Children are so magical, even though they may not recognize a few words, they can accurately distinguish which flavor lollipop is. The lollipop was bought, and Xiao Xiao didn't want Zhou Chen to hold it anymore. While talking about the lollipop, he held Zhou Chen's hand and walked into the community. A familiar person found their home and took out the key to open the door. As soon as he entered the room, Zhou Chen couldn't help but look around. It was truly a big house of over 200 square meters, twice the size of his real-world house, especially the living room, which was twice the size of his home, spacious and bright. After changing his shoes, Cao Cao ran to his and his sister's room to play, leaving only Zhou Chen wandering around in the living room. The house is about 240 square meters, with 4 bedrooms, 2 living rooms, and 2 bathrooms. Among them, he and Nan Li have 1 bedroom, and Huan and Cao Cao have 1 bedroom. Both of these bedrooms are large bedrooms. The other 2 rooms have been converted into a study and a miscellaneous room. The study is used by both husband and wife for work, with bookshelves, desks, and so on. The other room can be said to be a miscellaneous room, but in reality, there aren't many miscellaneous items, it's only a dozen square meters, and there's also a small bed inside, which can accommodate people completely. The living room and dining room are really big, and the open kitchen is also very spacious. Overall, as the house gets bigger, it looks much more spacious, unlike his real life home. Although it's a 3-bedroom apartment with 3 people living in, when my sister's family comes over, it becomes crowded. In Jiangzhou, although it may not be considered the busiest area, buying this house would cost at least over 10 million yuan. I can buy several sets in my 18th tier small city. Zhou Chen was filled with emotions. His first time traveling through the world of film and television allowed him to experience the life of a wealthy person. Whether it's housing or work, it can definitely be considered a middle-class or above level, far from being comparable to him in the real world. Suddenly, Zhou Chen didn't know what to do. He had become Xia Junshan, but his consciousness was still his own. When considering things, he naturally focused on his own thinking, rather than his original Xia Junshan's thinking. For him, this place is both familiar and unfamiliar, giving him a feeling of being at a loss. Sitting foolishly on the sofa, not knowing what to do, Zhou Chen finally regained his senses when he heard the sound of unlocking. He reflexively stood up and looked at the door. The door was opened and 2 people, 1 big and 1 small, walked in. Zhou Chen's heart tightened for an instant, and he suddenly felt a little flustered. Then he pursed his lips and kept silently reciting. I am Xia Junshan, I am Xia Junshan, I am Xia Junshan, husband, why are you standing there foolishly? Nan Li put down her bag and was about to change her shoes when she saw Zhou Chen standing still, muttering something to herself, so she spoke up and called out. Nan Li's voice brought Zhou Chen back to his senses, and he calmed his anxious emotions. I'm thinking about things. As he spoke, he naturally walked over. Dad! Xia Huan rushed over with a cheerful shout and only stopped in front of Zhou Chen, saying, Dad, didn't you say in the morning that you came to pick me up after school in the afternoon? Why did Mom come to pick me up? Before Zhou Chen could answer, Nan Li, who had changed into slippers, exclaimed discontentedly, Huan, are you unhappy when Mom goes to pick you up? Huan quickly shook her head and said, No, Mom picked me up, and I was happy too. Mom and Dad, I won't tell you anymore. There's a lot of homework today, so I went to do it. As she spoke, she ran into the room with her backpack on her back, kicking and kicking. Throughout the process, Zhou Chen didn't even have time to say a word. The little girl Xia Huan is indeed beautiful and lovely, and she looks very lively. Nan Li walked up to Zhou Chen and looked at him a few times. Husband, how do I feel that you're a bit strange today? It's just that you don't pick up the fun, you don't even smile when you see me. The distance between the two was very close, almost close to each other, which made Zhou Chen, who was already emotionally unstable, suddenly freeze his breath. Faced with Nan Li's gaze, Zhou Chen felt a sense of unease in his heart. Is this woman's intuition so keen? He hasn't done anything yet, and he just thinks he's strange. I can't show my cowardice. I'm Xia Junshan, her husband. It's genuine. What are you afraid of? With this thought, Zhou Chen felt much better, and then he hugged Nan Li tightly in his arms. It's a bit strange to see my beautiful, generous and charming wife. Disgusting. Nan Li hammered Zhou Chen's back and then hugged his waist, shyly saying, Be careful when you speak, the children are all here. Zhou Chen chuckled and said, I'm an old man and wife. What's going on here? The children are all in the room and I can't see them. The proactive attack was indeed effective. Zhou Chen breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. But after hugging Nan Li, she was really a bit distracted. Although he was not his first brother in his past life, he had never talked about a beautiful and elegant girlfriend like Nan Li. With such a beautiful and elegant woman in his arms, he would naturally be moved. Feeling the strength of her husband's arms, Nan Li was also happy in her heart. After more than a decade of marriage, her husband still loved her so much, which is something that many women can't imagine. But Nan Li gently pushed Zhou Chen away and said angrily, the children are all at home, be careful of the impact. Zhou Chen chuckled, and at this moment his heart had completely let go. It seemed that there was no problem with his performance. My current body is Xia Junshan, and I have inherited Xia Junshan's memories. Even if there are some minor issues, no one should doubt it. After all, it is not the world of immortality in chivalry. Seeking support. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The biggest problem. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The biggest problem. What about Cao Cao? Nan Li glanced at Zhou Chen and then asked strangely. Every time she comes back from work, Cao Cao will come over to greet her as soon as possible. What's going on today? It's been so long, and I haven't heard anything. Eating lollipops in the room, probably because I'm afraid you might notice, that's why I didn't dare to come out. Zhou Chen didn't show any loyalty and just sold Cao Cao. Just get used to them. Nan Li was not angry. She didn't give Cao Cao lollipops because she was afraid that Cao Cao would be too young to control himself and eat too much, which would damage his teeth. It's not that she really wouldn't give him any lollipops, and she wouldn't object to occasionally taking them. But the child has a simple mindset. He thinks that since his mother doesn't give him food, he will definitely get angry when he steals it, so he will hide. Zhou Chen said, I'm not used to it. Cao Cao is very sensible and obedient. He asked me to buy a lollipop, but I didn't enjoy it alone. He also brought one for Huan Huan. Nan Li smiled, apparently satisfied with her son's practice. The reason why she decided to have a second child was to let Huan Huan have one more brother and sisters, so that Huan Huan would not be alone. The super birth brought a lot of joy to their family. Having a loving husband and a pair of obedient and lovely children, Nan Li feels very happy now. Did you cook yet? Not really. Nan Li glanced at Zhou Chen and said, I just said you're a bit strange today. You just forgot to pick up Huan Huan. You came back early and didn't even cook. Nan Li, who has been following her mother since she was young, is one of the kind of long princesses who do not touch the sunshine and spring water with her 10 fingers. She is basically in charge of the household life. She can do things like laundry, cooking, mopping the floor and dishes, cleaning, and so on. However, after getting married, her husband's love has made her rarely do these household chores. The household chores are either done by the clock or by her husband, and only when she goes to her mother Zhao Na, will she do more. Especially after giving birth to Cao Cao and being transferred to a new job, she became even busier. Apart from having free time to do household chores on weekends, she had no time at all on weekdays. At noon, it was okay. The couple ate in class, and Huan Huan and Cao Cao were both eating at school, but not at night. The dinner at home is arranged by whoever comes back first, because Xia Junshan's work is usually done from 8 to 5 and there is basically no overtime, so most of the dinner is done by Xia Junshan. Due to consistent behavior, Zhou Chen returned first today without cooking, which surprised Nan Li. Zhou Chen doesn't know how to answer, cooking. He doesn't have this concept at all. In the real world, when I go to work, I eat in the cafeteria. Even if I don't think it's delicious, I still pay to go out and eat. When he was at home, not to mention that his mother wouldn't even let him enter the kitchen. If it comes to cooking, the most skilled one is instant noodles, or the kind that comes in barrels. Just now when it comes to cooking, various cooking memories involuntarily come to mind in his mind, but memories belong to memory. If he were to cook immediately, he would definitely not be able to do so. Zhou Chen quickly found an excuse and said, I still have some problems with my drawings today. I need to fix them again. You'll have to work hard for dinner. Okay, then I'll go cook. You can go ahead and get busy. It's just cooking. Nan Li didn't say anything. Couples are supposed to support each other, and her husband doesn't have time. Of course, as a wife, she has to take care of it. By the way, husband, what would you like to eat? Whatever you do, I'll eat whatever you want. After finishing speaking, he quickly fled into the study and quickly opened his notebook, looking like he was working hard. What's wrong with this? Are you so happy not to cook? Nan Li looked puzzled, then took off her coat, walked into the kitchen, tied up her apron, and began to think about what to eat at night. Zhou Chen looked at the drawings in his notebook, and not to mention, inheriting Xia Junshen's memory, he easily understood these architectural drawings that he had never encountered before. Not to mention anything else, just these memories of Xia Junshan are priceless treasures to me. It's like adding the memories and expertise of a social elite out of thin air. Just this memory is a great gift to Zhou Chen. He is truly grateful to the system. The first time he traveled, he had this kind of benefit. I don't know if his future travels will be like this one. If so, as long as he can travel through a few more worlds, he can get incredibly rich knowledge. After reading the blueprint for a while, Zhou Chen began to think about his task again. How can Xia Huanhuan achieve the standard of being admitted to Hanlin Middle School in less than a year and a half? It's difficult. Just thinking about it makes me feel difficult. With Xia Huanhuan's personality, working hard for a while is okay, but working hard for more than a year is like talking about a dream. Moreover, children cannot be forced too hard, otherwise Yan Zio is the best example. He doesn't want to force Huanhuan to be like that just to complete the task, because Huanhuan is his daughter. Moreover, not being forced to study without breathing can sometimes backfire. So after thinking about it, I can't teach myself. It's best not to attend tutoring classes such as selective tutoring, and hiring a tutor is actually the best choice. Please have a 1.on. 1 professional tutor. It would be even better if you could provide on-site service. Just 1.on.1 tutoring, all charged by class hours, the price will definitely not be cheap. And since we need to hire someone, we must definitely hire a professional and authoritative one. Otherwise, hiring those crooked teachers will not have much effect. If there is a supplementary course, it is not possible to only supplement one subject. After all, the entrance exam for junior high school students is not a single subject, but a comprehensive one. In the class of Fengfan Elementary School, Huanhuan is at a middle to lower level. If you want to improve to the level of being admitted to Hanlin Middle School, you must make up for both language and math. By this calculation, the cost of that tutor is definitely higher. If this continues, even for executives like the couple, it will be a great burden. Although their couple's monthly salary adds up to tens of thousands, their food and drink expenses are also not cheap. In addition, their 2 children are studying, and as a female executive, Nan Li always wears some expensive jewelry bags to decorate herself, which is high consumption. So, after working for so many years, the couple's savings haven't been much. If there were really a lot of savings, it wouldn't be like on TV where the down payment for buying a house would have to rely on the support of my parents. Turning around, asking for conditions first is not just a matter of learning, but a matter of money. Damn it, I thought I wouldn't have to worry too much about money when I moved into this kind of family, but now it seems like I'm still too naive. Zhou Chen felt a headache in his mind, only a child's learning problem, but in the end, it turned to money. It's too difficult. If you want to make money, relying on salary is definitely not enough. You can only earn extra income, but his job makes it impossible for him to take on private work outside, and Nan Li is already very busy, so relying on her is definitely not enough. At this time, what kind of extra income will not affect my job and can I earn money? Stocks, funds. He has never bought or understood this thing before, he doesn't understand it at all, definitely can't touch it. Shaking his head, Zhou Chen was about to think of another way when he accidentally caught a glimpse of the time and date below his notebook, which shook his whole body. March 2019. During this period, Zhou Chen's breathing became rapid, and he quickly opened the webpage to start searching. A few minutes later, he leaned back in his chair, his expression full of joy. He came up with a way to make money. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Money-making strategies. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Money-making strategies in the real world. Zhou Chen is just an ordinary office worker, and he is also an office worker in a small city. He has very little contact with the circle and is just an ordinary person. The means of making money he can think of are really limited. Although he has read many novels, TV shows, and movies, the methods of making money in them are hard to achieve in the real world, at least for ordinary people. The simplest way to make money, without violating the law, is to buy a house. That's right, according to the situation in our country, speculating in real estate is undoubtedly the safest and simplest way to make money. Even though it has been 19 years in this world, in the coming years, housing prices will continue to rise, and buying a house is a sure bet. Do you know that real estate speculation also requires capital? Generally, when a family buys a house, they have already borrowed from various sources. How can they have any extra money to buy a second house? Their family currently has some savings, but they are still far from buying a house, let alone making money through real estate speculation, which is not so easy. It's easy to buy, but if you want to sell a house, according to the rules, it will take 2 years. But 2 years later, the yellow cauliflower had already cooled down, so he just put this idea aside. After understanding the world, he found that although there are many differences from the real world, most things are still the same, such as the result he just checked. Bitcoin. What he just checked was Bitcoin. In the real world, he had heard of Bitcoin for a long time, but he didn't really understand it for long. It was only during a period of crazy growth that he seriously learned about it. He checked online and found that Bitcoin also exists in this world, and its trend is the same as the real world he is in. Zhou Chen is well aware that in this year, although the growth of Bitcoin may not be as crazy as in the following years, it will still continue to grow wildly in the first half of the year. If you buy at this time, you can sell it at the end of June and at least double it. A return rate of 200% over several months is truly amazing, and there is no reason not to buy it. But after being excited, Zhou Chen calmed down again because they didn't have much savings now, and even if they bought everything, the money they made was very limited. Pop. Zhou Chen slapped himself and said, "Damn it, you're really getting big now. Can you even call it a limit if you're over $1 million? But upon careful consideration, in this kind of city, this kind of family, over 1 million yuan is not much. More importantly, his family's deposit is not his own. The final say, it is their husband and wife's share, if he wants to invest, but also to seek the consent of Nan Li. Although Nan Li is a company executive with a broad perspective, if she were to invest all her assets in Bitcoin, she would definitely not agree. After all, he has memories and knows that Bitcoin will rise, but Nan Li doesn't know. Based on his memory of Nan Li, the likelihood of success is extremely low. I have a headache. Zhou Chen was a bit restless. After getting married, he had the trouble of getting married. He was no longer like when he was alone, doing whatever he wanted and spending his own money. Now he needed to consider not only one person, but also a family. This is not a gaming world, but another parallel world. It is real, people and things are real. Husband, it's time for dinner. While Zhou Chen was thinking about how to accumulate investment funds, Nan Li shouted loudly in the living room. Oh, here we go. Zhou Chen walked to the living room, and the dishes were already served on the table. The bowls and chopsticks were neatly arranged, indicating Nan Li's personality. Even when it comes to household chores, she is very serious and appropriate. Huan Huan and Chow Chow both walked hand in hand, first washing their hands, and then the family of four sat at the table. Dinner was very simple. Nan Li cooked congee and fried 3 home-made dishes. Dad, Mom, our school is going to have a singing competition next month. You must go then. Halfway through the meal, Huan Huan suddenly said happily to Zhou Chen and Nan Li. Nan Li looked surprised and said, "Are we going to have a competition next month? Our family Huan Huan is the best, we can definitely win first place." Since the beginning of the new year, Huan Huan has been preparing for the singing competition. Finally, when it was time to harvest, Nan Li was also happy for her daughter. Singing competition. Upon hearing this sentence, Zhou Chen was taken aback. I remember the beginning of the plot of Xiao Shede's TV drama was when Huan Huan participated in a singing competition, won first place, and then went to Nan Dad's house for dinner. Is the plot about to start? When he traveled over today, through Xia Junchen's memory, he knew that the plot had not yet begun. According to Huan Huan's participation in a singing competition, there was probably only about a month left until the plot began. The plot is about to begin, and inexplicably, Zhou Chen feels the pressure doubling. The plan to make money must be put on the agenda as soon as possible. After dinner, Huan Huan went to the room to do her homework, while Nan Li sat on the sofa with Chow Chow to read fairy tales. Zhou Chen cleverly began to tidy up the dishes. Zhou Chen has not yet fully mastered cooking and stir-frying, but he is still self-taught in cooking and washing dishes. After finishing everything, Zhou Chen naturally sat on the sofa and habitually took out his phone to turn on the brush. After browsing the internet for a while, I found that many news articles were somewhat familiar, and there were also some news articles that I had not heard of. Combined with his own memory, Zhou Chen can already be certain that this world is mostly consistent with the real world he is in, but there are also differences. Overall, the overall development trend remains unchanged, but there may be some changes in the minor trends. After scrolling through the short videos on Quyin for a while, I felt a bit bored, so I started searching for novel websites in this world. After searching, it was discovered that the development of novels in this world is similar to that of the real world, but familiar novel websites do not exist in this world. Instead, they are replaced by some unfamiliar novel websites, among which the largest website is called Qiue Chinese Network. I took a look at the novels on the website and found that they were all some novel names that I had not read before. However, after reading them, I found that many of the contents were similar to those in the real world. I watched with relish for a while until around 9 o'clock when Huan Huan finished her homework. Chow Chow was also coaxed to sleep by Nan Li, and the siblings began to sleep. Watching Nan Li walk around in front of him in her pajamas after washing up, Zhou Chen's heart suddenly lifted. After finishing her work, Nan Li saw Zhou Chen still sitting on the sofa looking at her phone and urged, "Husband, I left my pajamas in the bathroom. Hurry up and take a shower, then go to bed." Oh. Sleep, this is a big problem. Zhou Chen thoughtfully walked into the bathroom, took a shower, and soon came out wearing pajamas. Huan Huan and Chow Chow had already gone to bed, and the room was very quiet. After hesitating for a moment, Zhou Chen walked into the master bedroom. Nan Li was still asleep, leaning against her bed and looking at her phone. Zhou Chen walked slowly to Nan Li's side and got into bed. Pop. Zhou Chen lay down and was about to calm his tense mood and fall asleep when suddenly he was slapped on the shoulder, which startled him. He quickly turned around and looked at Nan Li. "Nan Li, what are you doing with your back to me?" "Husband, I noticed that you're really a bit strange today. You're still dodging when you look at me. Did you do something behind my back to apologize to me? How could it be possible?" Zhou Chen's voice instantly rose and he innocently retorted, "Lily, don't talk nonsense. How could I possibly do something wrong to you?" Seeing Zhou Chen's panicked expression, Nan Li chuckled and said, "You're scared. Of course I know you don't know how to do it, but I don't think you're in the right mood today. Something's wrong with you, husband. What's wrong with you? Have you encountered any problems at work?" Zhou Chen saw Nan Li leaning next to him with a concerned expression on his face, and his heart was moved. "No, don't daydream, I'm just a bit tired today." "Really?" Zhou Chen was about to answer, but suddenly goosebumps arose because Nan Li extended her index finger and tapped it on his chest, gently rotating it through her thin pajamas. "Lily, you're playing with fire. Aren't you tired? Where did you get the fire? Is it tolerable or not? If it can be endured, then it's not a man." Writing this type of novel for the first time may result in unstable initial updates. We apologize for any inconvenience caused. The book is ready to be signed, so everyone can confidently invest with confidence. Finally seeking a wave of support. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Understanding Nan Li. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Understanding Nan Li. Wife, Mom, I'm going to work first. The next day, Zhou Chen woke up refreshed and had breakfast brought by Princess Changchang Zhao Na, and then went to work first. Huan Huan was sent to school by Nan Li, while Chao Chao was sent to kindergarten by Princess Chang. On the way to the company by car, Zhou Chen was still thinking about what happened yesterday. Traveling through the parallel world of the TV drama Xiao Shede, I not only have both children, but also a charming and lovely wife. Just thinking about it makes me feel happy. A day passed, and Zhou Chen had fully adapted to his identity. Although he knew he came from another world and it was the system that made him travel to this world, before leaving, his identity was Xia Junshan, the husband of Nan Li, the father of Huan Huan and Chao Chao. This is a fact that no one can change. Last night, he hugged and slept with Nan Li, everything was so smooth. Before going to bed, he spoke to Nan Li about the investment matter. As expected, Nan Li opposed it on the spot. Even if he served well, Nan Li had no intention of compromising on such a big matter. However, Nan Li's refusal was quite tactful. Firstly, she mentioned that investment is an unstable matter, and it is easy to get money into it, which is too risky. Although he said it's high risk and high return, for Nan Li, she is very satisfied with her current small life and doesn't want to make any fuss about investing. In order to discourage Zhou Chen from investing in Bitcoin, Nan Li also explained their current family situation. Firstly, there is the problem with the two children. Going to school, eating, dressing, and playing a few times a month. Over the course of a year, the cost of just spending 100,000 yuan on the two children cannot be overstated. And their current house has to pay off the mortgage every month. The house was bought by the two of them through their own hard work, and there are still many years left for the mortgage. Although they bought it early, they still have to pay off more than 10,000 yuan per month. In addition, with their clothing, food, housing, and transportation, although they can earn hundreds of thousands in a year, neither of them is the kind of person who can save money. So after more than a decade of marriage, so far their savings have only been 800,000 to 900,000 yuan. According to Nan Li, this money should be kept for emergency use. After all, no one can guarantee that there is no urgent matter. If all this money is invested, in case something happens, where should I go to change it? Finally, Zhou Chen was convinced. Even in the real world, he has lived for more than 20 years and is an adult. He naturally knows that what Nan Li said is very reasonable. She is a woman who can take charge of the family. It's just that Bitcoin can make several times the profit, I don't know. Since I know, if I don't make a profit, I'm too sorry for my future information, right? Driven by interests, Zhou Chen and Nan Li expressed their confidence and hoped that Nan Li could reconsider. To his surprise, after pondering for a while, Nan Li smiled and told him that she could support him, but she could only withdraw half of her savings and keep the other half. Zhou Chen, who had already lost much hope, did not expect that Nan Li would actually agree. Although only half of it, he fully felt the accommodation from Nan Li. He understood that Nan Li didn't believe he could make money, but because they were married, she couldn't bear her husband's disappointment, so she gritted her teeth and took a step back to accommodate him. He had never felt this kind of mutual support before, and at this moment, he was truly grateful to the system for transforming him into Xia Junshan and having such an understanding wife. At the same time, he also made up his mind to do better than Xia Junshan in the original work in the future. Whoever dares to bully my wife, Nan Li, or fight anyone to death. I transferred 400,000 yuan from my family account to my own card, but Zhou Chen is not ready to buy Bitcoin immediately because he remembers that the end of March this year was the beginning of Bitcoin's frenzy, and it was almost the lowest price at that time. It's not yet midday, so he's not in a hurry to buy. However, the capital of 400,000 yuan is still relatively small. For a stable business like this, of course, the more funds there are, the better. He just couldn't think of where to get the money for the time being. There's no need to say that at home, the 400,000 yuan is still particularly generous to Nan Li. If there's more, there won't be any. In class, Zhou Chen went to work as usual. As a famous architectural designer in the Design Institute, he has a small team under his command, and ordinary projects are handed over to him. He only needs to be responsible for overall planning and some large design schemes. Zhou Chen is still quite puzzled about his own leisure. Because according to his understanding of designers, these types of people should be relatively busy. Sometimes drawing blueprints, creating design proposals, and working overtime and staying up late are common things. Why is his work so leisurely instead? Is it because of his different status as a leader that he is so idle? However, after recalling, he realized that it was not as he had imagined. When Xia Junshan first entered the Design Institute, he was also very busy, and working overtime and staying up late was a common occurrence. But with the improvement of status and work efficiency, he can complete the work that others can only complete in 2 hours in 1 hour. Many clients' design proposals can be passed in one go, and he rarely redoes them, so now he can be relatively idle. In the morning, I looked at the drawings and made modifications to the design proposals and drawings submitted by the client. Time passed quickly, and by the afternoon, there were no major issues at work. However, since it was work, even if there was nothing important, one had to sit still. Bored Zhou Chen habitually started browsing the internet again, learning about current events. After reading the news for hours, he went to a novel website to read novels. As the largest novel website in this parallel world, Qiuan.net is still quite good. Last night, he read the best-selling novel, which is an urban fantasy genre. According to the comments, this novel has been at the top of the sales chart for a long time, with a good plot and story. However, this is not the most crucial thing. The most crucial thing is that the author of this novel is a pervert, with a daily update of over 20,000 words and a monthly update of 700,000 to 800,000 words. The story and writing style are good, and the ability to handle a large amount of content is not surprising. After watching with great interest for over an hour, suddenly, a flash of inspiration flashed in Zhou Chen's mind. Yeah, if you want to make extra money, isn't writing a novel a great choice? There is no need for upfront investment or taking risks, the only thing that needs to be invested is time and energy. But now he has both time and energy. Setting aside a few hours every day to write novels is definitely not a problem. As for creativity, is there still a problem with that? He is backed by one world, and the development trajectories of the two worlds are very similar. If those popular novels in the real world are placed here, it is highly likely that they will also become popular. Thinking of this, Zhou Chen became excited. It would take 2 months to see how much profit a novel can bring. He now has time, and he can still afford to wait for 2 months. As long as he can make money, he can just catch up with the craziest period of Bitcoin. This idea is good, let's do it this way. Open the document and prepare to start, but what should I write? Writing according to his own ideas is definitely not feasible. In order to make money, he can only work as a copywriter and a porter. Since you want to write about the hot topics in the real world, you must definitely write about those that sell well, and also write about those that leave a deep impression on you and remember. Before crossing over, he was pursuing 2 books, one was De Fong de Men and the other was Mysterious Resurrection. As an old bookworm, I enjoy reading novels with a lot of words, and rarely follow and read one novel every day. The reason for pursuing these 2 novels is because the scene of The Night Watchman is good, and it is also quite coquettish. The Mysterious Revival is a strange new genre that looks very interesting. Without a doubt, both of these books are absolutely popular, and if they were to be published in this world, they are likely to become popular. These 2 books are constantly updating, so the general plot can still be remembered. His writing style is not good, but according to the template, it can still be restored to almost half. Making money should not be difficult. But which one to choose is very particular, because both of these books are a bit hovering around the edge of 404. After careful consideration, Zhou Chen decided that it would be better for De Feng Da to be a better person. If there is a mysterious recovery, the danger is still higher. After making the decision, he had to sigh, it's really difficult for an ordinary person like me. 2 years ago, when I came to another parallel time and space, I could only think of buying a house, buying Bitcoin, and writing novels as ways to make money. It's really a failure. If you have any mistakes or suggestions when writing this type of novel for the first time, you can mention them in the comments section in this chapter. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Spiritual Properties. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Spiritual Properties. Zhou Chen made a decision to write about De Fong de Men, so he began to write the outline according to the memory of the plot. Although he hasn't seen the ending yet, it doesn't affect him. My buddies are just wasting money, just make money. As for the ending, let's talk about it later. The outline was written very smoothly, listing the plot and important routines in his memory separately, as well as the names of people, places, and so on. He had briefly written a novel before, but he had never written an outline as smoothly as he does today. No wonder many people like to do copywriting, which is even smoother than writing fan fiction. Seeing that there were still 2 hours left before leaving work, Zhou Chen didn't stop and started coding directly from the first chapter. Chapter 1. After writing a few hundred words, Zhou Chen stopped because he didn't know how to start writing anymore. At the beginning, the reason why this novel was attractive was due to the protagonist's ability to solve cases and his level of skill in hooking up cups. However, the key is that he is not good at either of these 2 aspects. The vernacular novel is fine, but he really can't write it professionally. Although he tried his best to recall, he was still a bit stretched out. Sure enough, I am still too naive. The copywriter is not that easy to do, his brain is a bit insufficient, and his thinking cannot keep up. Zhou Chen felt a bit discouraged. He could remember his original memories clearly, as if they were engraved in his mind, but his own memories were different. He could remember the general plot, but it was really difficult for him to write down the details, and even write them almost exactly. Wait, I think I still have a system. Zhou Chen, leaning against the chair, suddenly remembered that he had golden fingers, so he immediately called up the system panel. I saw the system panel very smoothly, just like what he saw in the real world, with only simple basic attributes. However, when he saw that he still had 4 attribute points, his mind was instantly shaken. Several attributes of the system are introduced, including strength, physique, spirit, and agility. Strength represents his current strength, physique represents his overall physical fitness, agility represents speed, hand speed, sensitivity, and so on. As for spirit, it represents a person's consciousness, thinking activities, and psychological state, and so on. Although spirit does not represent intelligence, if it is high enough, it will become clear in consciousness, active in thinking, and improve logical and analytical abilities. In a sense, it can also be considered human wisdom. According to the system, the mental state of a normal person is generally below 10 o'clock, and those above 10 o'clock belong to intelligent individuals with quick thinking. The higher the level, the more genius they are. Zhou Chen's spirit is 8 points, which can only be considered ordinary, but he still has 4 free attribute points that can be added to the 4 attributes. Xiao Shede is just an urban drama, and the characters in it are all ordinary people. There is no need for fighting or anything like that, so he can completely add all 4 attribute points to his spirit. He already has 8 points of spirit, and adding 4 more will definitely improve his thinking and consciousness, which will be of great help to his writing. Thinking of this, Zhou Chen did not hesitate to add the remaining 4 attribute points to the spiritual attribute. As soon as he finished adding it, Zhou Chen felt a pain in his brain. His consciousness was a bit confused, but it was just a short moment. The next moment, he had a different feeling. He had only 8 points of energy, but adding 4 points was equivalent to half the amount before, and his thinking and consciousness had greatly improved. There seem to be many images flashing through my mind, and many previously vague things are slowly becoming clearer, making my mind clearer than ever before. Zhou Chen closed his eyes and experienced his changes. It took him a long time to fully adapt. After adapting, Zhou Chen dared not delay and began to recall the plot of the novel while in this state. Although it is still impossible to fully recall, he has already remembered most of the content, and with his thinking, he can gradually complete the writing. The effect of spiritual enhancement was truly astonishing to Zhou Chen, and he even thought that if he added a few more spirits, his consciousness would become more active and his thinking would become more sensitive. He could definitely become a genius in the eyes of ordinary people. However, the remaining 4 attribute points have already been added. How to continue adding attribute points in the future is the key, but it should be related to the task he wants to complete. After experimenting for a while, Zhou Chen also discovered many problems. Although his mental state improved by half, it only made his consciousness, logical thinking, and memory analysis abilities stronger, and there were no other changes. For example, things he didn't understand before, even when he looks at them now, he still doesn't understand. Although his memory has improved a bit, he hasn't developed any unforgettable superpowers. Overall, he is still an ordinary person now. For Zhou Chen, this has already made him very satisfied. In the following days, except for occasionally picking up Huan after work, Zhou Chen entrusted all the household chores to Nan Li. For this, Nan Li also complained a few words, saying that he didn't do his job well and insisted on writing some novels. Zhou Chen didn't explain much, but after one night, Nan Li, who was full of energy the next day, no longer opposed it. Although I am currently in my 30s, my mental state is still in my 20s, and I am as energetic as a calf. Zhou Chen thought to himself. As for Huan's learning problem, Zhou Chen has not started planning yet because it is not the time yet. Whether it's Huan or Nan Li, they won't realize the seriousness of the problem until they realize the serious decline in their grades. Even if they say more now, it won't work, it will actually affect the father-daughter relationship. Zhou Chen still believes that the top priority now is to cultivate a good relationship with Nan Li. As long as their marital relationship is good and they unite on the front line, many problems can be easily solved. Secondly, it's about making money. No matter what kind of family it is, if a man wants to have a say, he must earn more money, at least more than his wife. Only by earning more during the day and serving well at night can men have a good life. Otherwise, everyone understands. A few days after publishing the book, the website's signing website came short. He was in charge of an editor named Xiao Ming, and his pen name was Shan Li, a combination of his current name and his wife's name, Nan Li. Due to his increased mental state, his thinking response has become much stronger than before. In addition, he imitates novels he has read, so his coding speed is very fast. He can write over 20,000 words in 4 or 5 hours a day. Because he wanted to make quick money, Zhou Chen's update speed was very fast. After signing the contract, he started writing 10,000 words a day and was ready to directly list within a month. At first, there were some editors who opposed it, but after listening to Zhou Chen's explanation, they did not oppose it anymore and allowed Zhou Chen to operate it himself. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Curious Nan Li. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Curious Nan Li. In the blink of an eye, Zhou Chen had been in this world for 2 weeks. In these 2 weeks, he has fully integrated into the world and his own identity, especially after getting to know his wife Nan Li in depth multiple times. His relationship has risen sharply. In private, Nan Li has said several times whether he has been stimulated or not, and the recent changes have been quite significant. However, when Zhou Chen asked her if she was satisfied, Nan Li's answer was also very straightforward. Except for the household chores, everything else was very satisfactory. During this period, apart from writing novels at work, he spent the rest of his time with his family, especially at night. He also told stories to Chow Chow and talked with Huan Huan. The novel has been uploaded for 12 days, with a word count of nearly 100,000 words. All the data can only be said to be good, but there is still a certain distance to go before it becomes popular. Zhou Chen is not in a hurry. After all, he is just a newcomer now with little traffic. How many people can a novel with only 100,000 words attract? He has great confidence in his novel. As long as the word count increases, it will definitely become popular. It's his editor who thinks that his Defeng de Menren has written very well, and even asked him to slow down the updates and make a few more recommendations before putting it on the shelves, so he can definitely get up to it. But Zhou Chen still thinks he needs to be listed as soon as possible. Anyway, his coding speed is very fast, and he rarely encounters bottlenecks when writing according to the plot. Encountering such a stunned youth, the editor had no choice but to sigh and let him follow his own ideas. Sunday. After finishing her tasks, Nan Li felt a bit helpless when she saw Zhou Chen typing in the study. Since she started writing novels not long ago, their family has not gone out for activities for 2 consecutive weekends. Yesterday, she took Huan Huan and Chow Chow to the library. Although it is a positive thing for her husband to earn extra income by writing novels, she believes that she cannot give up her rest time just to write novels. Most importantly, she does not know if her husband has the ability to do so. So she walked to the study. Husband. Zhou Chen looked up and asked, "What's wrong, Lily?" Looking at Zhou Chen's serious expression on her face, Nan Li couldn't say anything more. Instead, she asked softly, "Husband, how is your novel writing?" Zhou Chen said, "It's only a few 100,000 words, and it will be available in half a month. Based on my estimation, the results should be good and I can make money." In half a month, there have been over 100,000 words, the plot has unfolded, the collection is increasing, and the reputation is gradually rising. Although it has not been listed yet, there have been hundreds of people giving tips, including one alliance leader. So Zhou Chen is very confident that he will definitely make money after being listed. Perhaps it may not be as popular as in the real world, but in the early stages, he can earn at least tens or even hundreds of thousands of yuan per month. Is that right? Nan Li responded with suspicion. In her opinion, Zhou Chen was only writing a novel for the first time, and it was not as easy to succeed. However, she couldn't bear to dampen her husband's enthusiasm. "Husband, what is the name of the novel you wrote?" Upon hearing this, Zhou Chen's heart immediately tightened and he said, "Why are you asking this?" He doesn't know what other online novel authors think, but for him, he doesn't really want his family to know what kind of novels he writes because there is always an awkward feeling. Nan Li said, "Just asking, if my husband's novel goes viral, I can also advertise for you." Jian Nan Li really wanted to know, and Zhou Chen could only tell her that Zhuozhua is just a novel, and it's not something unseen. Is Defeng a watchman? What a strange name. Just then, Zhou Chen's phone suddenly rang. Take it over and see that the caller ID is actually Yan Peng. "Lily, it's Yan Peng." Nan Li said, "I'm sure I'm looking for you to play basketball again." Go ahead, it's better to go out and play than to stay at home all day. She was very dissatisfied with the third mother and daughter, but she didn't have any resentment towards Yan Peng, nor did she stop her husband from dating him. As soon as Zhou Chen answered the phone, the voice from across the street came rushing and roaring. Brother, what are you doing? Come out and play ball. I have all the equipment ready. Okay, I'll see you at the same place. I have been writing novels all along, and Zhou Chen is indeed a bit annoyed. What Nan Li said is right, going out for a walk to change my mood is also good. Husband, if you go out to play ball and don't come back for lunch, then I'll take Huan and Xiao Xiao to my mom's place. That's okay, I'll have lunch with Yan Peng outside at noon. Zhou Chen nodded. In his memory, he had a very good relationship with Yan Peng, often playing ball and eating together. He was not the brother-in-law of the kiss, but there was not much difference between him and the kiss. By the way, husband, didn't you say you wanted to invest in that currency? But when I saw the 400,000 yuan I gave you, it didn't seem to move either. Because they have a good relationship and know each other's phone passwords, Nan Li flipped through Zhou Chen's phone and didn't see any consumption records, so she asked strangely. Oh, I'm still watching. I'll buy when it's time in a few days. Don't worry, Lily. I promise you, in 3 months, I'll make sure to switch guns. Just our wife, we'll have to get a luxury car and drive it. Zhou Chen is full of ambition. The reason why he wants to make money is not for himself, after all, he will eventually return to the real world. He wants to make more money for Nan Li and his children, to make their lives better and not be bullied like in TV dramas. If it weren't for them, with his personality, he wouldn't have been so anxious about making big money. You're the only one who can talk. I've only bought that car for a few years, so it doesn't matter if I can make money. I just hope you don't get addicted to it. I still think it's more reliable to work hard and earn money. Although Nan Li is also very strong, in her opinion, investing in virtual Bitcoin is not as secure as buying stocks. Zhou Chen hugged Nan Li and confidently said, Li, with me here, I will definitely make sure that you live no worse than others in the future. Just wait and see. Alright, don't be poor anymore. Go play ball quickly. I also need to tidy up Huan and Xiao Xiao. Okay, wife. Zhou Chen really likes his current family, relaxed and happy, loving each other, and really hopes to continue like this in the future. Zhou Chen was getting dressed and about to go out when Huan suddenly ran over and said, Dad, Mom said you're going to play ball with your aunt. Take me with you. After spending half a month together, Zhou Chen really likes Huan, who is outgoing, kind, and lovely. Under the indulgence of their husband and wife, Huan is indeed like a little princess. We're going to play ball, what are you doing with us? Anyway, it's the gym. You can ask your uncle to take Yan Zio with you, and you can go play ball. We can go play something else. I'm going too. Xiao Xiao also jumped up, loudly reminding him as well. Husband, let's take them out. It's been a long time since you took them out to play. At the gym, there's Huan and Zio watching. It's super fine. Zhou Chen thought about it too. Huan and Zio are both in 5th grade, super smart and very sensible. They won't run around everywhere. So he immediately called Yan Peng back and asked him to take Yan Zio with him. Yan Peng hesitated for a moment, but finally agreed. End of this chapter. Chapter 10 Key Points. Yan Peng, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Key Points. Yan Peng, Huan, super, let's go now. With the help of Nan Li, Huan and Xiao Xiao both changed into sportswear and wore sun protection caps. Xiao Xiao even hugged a football bigger than his head. Let's go. Both siblings were shouting and cheering loudly. Lily, let's go now. Slow down on the road, keep an eye on Huan and Xiao Xiao. Got it. Mom, goodbye. Mom, goodbye. Zhou Chen took Huan and Chao Chao onto the car and helped them fasten their seatbelts. Huan, Chao, sit still. Dad is about to leave. Let's go, he waved his little hand with great joy. The gymnasium that Peng and Zhou Chen often go to is not far away, it's only a 20-minute drive away. Peng likes playing tennis more. Since getting to know Xia Shan, he often plays tennis with him. For this reason, he also specially booked a venue in the gymnasium, year-round. When he is not around, others can use it, but once he comes, the staff must clear the field for him, so no matter when he comes, they can have a place to play. Although it's not particularly expensive to rent a court all year round, most people don't spend that much money just to play a few games, which is why the wealthy second-generation Peng does it. Brother. As soon as Zhou Chen arrived at the venue with Huan and Chao Chao, he heard someone shouting, just a middle-aged man in his 30s wearing white sportswear, waving at him. Entering the venue, Huan and Chao Chao immediately ran to Peng. Uncle. Peng happily touched Huan and Chao Chao's heads and said, Huan, Chao, have you missed your uncle? I've thought about it, replied the super honest person. Zhou Chen glanced at him and asked in confusion, why are you alone? Huan also asked somewhat disappointed, yes, uncle, hasn't Zio come? Huan and Zio are classmates and can be considered relatives, so they have a very good relationship and often play together. Chao Chao said to Feng Dao, where's brother Zio? Oh, stop talking. Peng looked depressed and said, my family, as you know, forces Zio to study every day. I said I want to bring him over to play football with Huan and them, but I won't let him live or die, and we almost got into an argument about it. You're really... Zhou Chen was about to say something, but when he saw Huan and Chao Chao still around, he said to them, Huan, Chao, are you here to watch Dad and Uncle play ball, or are you going to the playground to play on your own? Huan is already 11 years old and very lively and sensible. With an obedient super, Zhou Chen is still quite at ease. Huan immediately replied, Dad, Uncle, you guys can play football here. I'll take Chao to play football. After finishing speaking, I pulled the supercar and ran. Auntie, goodbye. Auntie, goodbye. Peng looked at Huan and Chao, who were bouncing away one by one, and said with envy, it's better for your Nan Li family. Huan and Chao are so lively and cute, but our one is not good. We study, and learn all day long. Zhou Chen pointed at Peng with a blank expression on his face and said, can you also show some masculinity? Tian Yulan forces Zio to study every day and doesn't let him play, so you're not afraid to drive Zio crazy. Didn't you read the news? Some parents drive their children crazy for grades, and even more so, some children jump off buildings and commit suicide. Can't it be? Peng was startled and said, although Tian Yulan is a bit strict with Zio, it's not to that extent. Moreover, Zio in our family has an outgoing and filial personality, so he definitely won't be like those children you mentioned. Hee. Zhou Chen chuckled disdainfully twice. In the plot, Zio was either forced into mental illness, which was not unfounded concern. I think you need to be careful. He didn't say anything more, he still understood the point to the point. Let's go, play ball. Taking a racket from Peng, the two of them stood up and started playing. Tennis is played with strength and skill, and Zhou Chen has memories of Xia Shan. His physical strength is also good, and his reaction is more sensitive than before, so he played quite well. As for Peng, it was obvious at first glance that he was always fighting. The two of them fought back and forth for over an hour before stopping. Tired, take a break. The two of them sat down on the nearby stool, drinking water and chatting. Brother, what have you been busy with lately? A few weeks ago, I sent you a WeChat message to make an appointment to play basketball, but why haven't you agreed? Peng asked, panting slightly. Zhou Chen took a sip of water and slowly exhaled before answering, I've been busy making extra money lately, so I don't have time to play basketball with you. Make extra money? Peng asked in surprise, what extra income do you make? Brother, tell me. Zhou Chen looked at him and said, why are you so enthusiastic? I'm only prepared to earn some extra money because I'm short of money, and you're not short of money. Just think about playing games every day. Brother, look at what you're saying. Just because you don't lack money doesn't mean you don't want to make money. Besides, who doesn't have some self-esteem? You can't keep asking the old man for money, can you? Cough cough. Zhou Chen almost choked on a mouthful of water. Brother, if it weren't for watching TV dramas, I still really thought you were a good and ambitious young man. With your parents, do you still have self-esteem? Okay, let's not say that I won't help you. Recently, I'm planning to make an investment and make a steady profit. In a few months, the profit will at least double. Peng was surprised and said, is it really fake? Although he is currently working in a state-owned enterprise and doesn't care about his family's business, it doesn't mean he doesn't understand anything. In just a few months, his profits have doubled, which is amazing. Brother, please don't do anything illegal or disorderly. What do you think? Am I that kind of person? Zhou Chen rolled his eyes and explained, go back and check Bitcoin. The one I want to invest in is that one. Based on my experience of observation, it will definitely skyrocket in the next few months. If you believe me, buy some. If you don't believe me, just let me know. That is to say, Peng is a good person, otherwise he wouldn't have told the other party such an important thing. A plate as big as Bitcoin, no matter who earns it, Peng can be considered a reliable brother no matter what he says. As for whether Peng buys it or not, it has nothing to do with him. Bitcoin. I'll check it now. Peng took out his phone and quickly found information about Bitcoin. After reading it for a while, he. Brother, are you confident about this thing? Who dares to say there is absolute certainty about this investment, but 70.8% should be no problem. Zhou Chen didn't say too much, after all, he was a soul piercing through, who knows if there will be any butterfly effect. 70.8% is so high, okay, then I'll go back and study it. During the conversation, Huan ran over holding a football in one hand and holding Huan in the other. Dad, Chow and I are hungry. When are we going to eat? Zhou Chen quickly took out the towel he brought and helped Huan and Chow wipe off their sweat. It was spring now, and with so much sweat, it was easy to catch a cold when blown by the wind. When they came out today, both of them were wearing new clothes, but after playing for a while, their clothes were already dirty and speckled, and it was obvious that they were going crazy playing. Peng looked at his phone and said, it's already past 11 o'clock, Huan, Chow. What would you like to eat? Today, my uncle is treating me. Huan has an outgoing personality and no ulterior motives. After hearing this, she immediately said, Uncle, I want to eat pasta and ice cream. Chow wants to eat steak. Chow crawled out from under the towel and shouted loudly. Don't move around, Dad will wipe you clean. Peng asked Zhou Chen again, brother, what about you? Zhou Chen said, then let's go to the Western restaurant. I can take any bite I want. Okay, I know there's a good Western restaurant nearby. Huan, super, put on your coat, let's go. The book has been signed, everyone can rest assured to invest. If updated, the future positioning will be around 7 or 8 p.m. If there are no unforeseen circumstances, we will notify you in advance of any changes before listing. After listing, we will ensure a minimum of 3 p.m. and check your subscription data. This book is currently only limited to urban areas and should focus on daily life. It mainly interacts with the plot characters. If the length is limited, it won't be just a fast-paced adventure that takes tens of thousands of words. Because I haven't written about this type before, I'll stick to that sentence. If you have any suggestions or questions, I hope everyone can raise them. The author will definitely take them seriously. In this way, open a post in the comments section, and if anyone has any TV dramas or movies they want to watch, they can post them. The author will carefully adopt them according to their own situation. Finally, I would like to ask all the big shots to support us and cast all kinds of votes. End of this chapter.